Your tomato plant isn't dying because you're a bad gardener. It's dying because of something hiding in plain sight, and it's not the water, the sunlight, or even the soil. It's the container itself. Right now, thousands of backyard gardeners are staring at yellow leaves, empty flower buds, and tomatoes that never show up. They blame their green thumb. They blame the weather. But research from university extension programs points to something else entirely. 7 specific mistakes that quietly sabotage container gardens every single season. Some of these mistakes look completely harmless. One of them is something almost every beginner does without even thinking twice. And the wild part? Fixing them doesn't cost extra money or extra time. It just takes knowing what's actually happening underground, inside that pot where you can't see it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which 7 mistakes are quietly wrecking your harvest, and the simple fix for each one. One of these mistakes is probably happening in your garden right now, and it has nothing to do with watering, sunlight, or fertilizer. It's the size of the pot you already own. Most people pick a pot because it looks nice on the porch, not because it fits the plant. Drop a tomato into a small 3-gallon pot, and here's what happens underground. The roots hit the walls fast. They have nowhere to go, so they start circling, tangling around themselves like a ball of string. Weeks later, you're standing over an empty plant wondering why it never gave you a single tomato, when the answer was buried the whole time. The fix is simpler than most people expect. Tomatoes need a 10 to 20-gallon container. Peppers and cucumbers do well with 5 gallons or more. Herbs and lettuce only need a shallow 6 to 8 inches. And here's the part nobody tells you. Bigger containers are actually easier to take care of. They dry out slower. They stay cooler in the sun. They forgive your mistakes instead of punishing them. Mistake number 2 is even more damaging, and it's hiding in plenty of pretty ceramic pots sold in garden centers right now. No dará ni llores. Picture this. Water goes in, and it has nowhere to go out. It just sits there, right against the roots day after day. Oxygen gets pushed out of the soil, and that's when root rot moves in. There's also a popular trick passed around gardening videos for years: tossing gravel or rocks at the bottom of the pot to help drainage. Turns out that doesn't help at all. It actually raises the waterlogged layer closer to the roots. If your container doesn't drain, water still finds a way to sit right where your roots live. We're only 2 mistakes in, and the next one is sitting in almost every backyard in America. Scooping dirt straight from a yard and dumping it into a container. It seems logical. Dirt is dirt, right? Except soil that works perfectly fine in the ground turns into something closer to clay once it's trapped inside a pot, with no worms and no natural air pockets to keep it loose. That's why potting mix exists as its own product, built with materials like peat, bark, and perlite specifically to keep air pockets open, even after months of watering. Now here's mistake number 4, and this one might be the most common of all 7. Watering on a schedule instead of checking the soil. Every morning, watering can. Every evening, watering can. Rain or no rain, hot day or cool day, same routine. It feels responsible. It's actually a gamble. Here's why that gamble backfires. A black plastic pot sitting in full Arizona sun loses water at a completely different rate than a ceramic pot on a shaded Oregon porch. Water both on the same schedule, and one of them is drowning while the other is bone dry. And either way, you end up with the same heartbreak. Cracked, stressed fruit that never ripens right after weeks of waiting. The better method takes 10 seconds. Stick a finger 2 inches into the soil. If it's dry, water deeply until it drains from the bottom. If it's still damp, walk away and check again tomorrow. A simple moisture meter can take the guesswork out of this entirely. And I've linked one in the description if you want one. But even if your watering is perfect, there's a slow, invisible drain happening every single time water flows through that pot. And it's about to explain those yellow leaves you've been blaming on bad luck. Most people don't realize that every time you water, you're washing something away for good. In garden beds, soil replenishes itself slowly over time. Inside a pot, there's no replenishing. Water flows straight through, and it carries nitrogen, potassium, and other nutrients right out the drainage holes with it. Heavy feeders like tomatoes and peppers can run out of fuel faster than most people realize. So when those leaves start turning yellow, the instinct is to dump in more fertilizer. But that's not always the right move. Sometimes it's a hungry plant. Sometimes it's a drowning one, sitting in soil that's staying too wet. Same symptom, opposite problem, opposite fix. The better approach is a slow release of fertilizer mixed in at planting, topped up with a liquid fertilizer during the growing season based on what that specific crop needs. Halfway through this list, and mistake number 6 has nothing to do with soil, water, or nutrients at all. It's something most people decide in about 5 seconds without a second thought. Well, the pot actually sits. Plenty of gardeners choose a spot because it looks charming on the patio instead of checking where the sun actually falls. A north-facing porch, a shady spot under a tree. Fruiting vegetables need 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight to actually produce. Less than that, and you get weak stems, fewer flowers, and a plant that looks healthy but never quite delivers. Watch how sunlight moves across your space for a full day before deciding where containers go. And if a pot's heavy, a simple rolling plant caddy makes repositioning painless as the seasons shift. Which brings us to the last mistake on this list, and it's the one that looks the most harmless of all 7 because it actually looks like good gardening. Cramming too many plants into one pot. A tomato, a pepper, some basil, a marigold, all sharing the same small space. It looks lush in photos, but underground, those roots are fighting each other for the same water, the same nutrients, the same room to grow. Competition means stress, and a stressed plant rarely produces the harvest you were hoping for. Herbs tend to get along fine together, but big fruiting plants almost always perform best with room to themselves. 7 mistakes, all hiding in plain sight, all fixable without spending another dollar on fancy equipment. If you learned something new today, the real test is which mistake you're already making. Drop in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want the soil mix recipe that fixes half of these problems in one step, that's coming in the next video. Subscribe so you don't miss it.